Hi everybody and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This video is a one-story video with a post that has 5 parts from the subreddit Legal Advice. It's quite interesting and it takes a crazy turn. So if you want to navigate throughout the parts of the video, you can just use the timestamps below it. Now let's get started with this story. This post is from the subreddit Legal Advice and it's by user Feeder Feedback. Severely obese employee has been causing issues at my business. She told us it was medical. Just found out she's a feeder. Help. Alright, so I know this is really bizarre, and to be truthful, I am totally stumped on my rights and what I can do as an employer in this case. I run an event planning business. I have 15 employees and rent a small office space in a building with 4 other offices in related fields. Each business owner bought the building in 2005 as joint owners because our businesses intended to grow together from the start, and it's been wildly successful. In 2010, I hired a woman we'll name Sarah. Sarah is a perfectly nice human being, and for years of her employment there was no issues. Full disclosure, Sarah has never been a small woman. I would estimate her weight around 230 pounds when I hired her. But that was never an issue until 2016. At the end of 2013, Sarah went through a bad divorce. And so when she met a nice guy in 2014, we were all very happy for her. She's always been a really private person, but she couldn't help herself talking about him around the office. And by the middle of 2015, they got married. Around early 2016 was when Sarah began experiencing what she told me was health issues diagnosed by a doctor. She began to absolutely balloon in weight over time. I never pushed further, both because her health insurance isn't through my company insurance, it's through her new husband, and because my employees' health issues are none of my business. I assumed she had a thyroid disorder personally because my mother had something similar happen at a similar age to Sarah. Sarah keeps putting on weight and putting on weight. Our office has stairs that lead to the main door, and when Sarah could no longer properly use the stairs, I paid for an elevator upgrade from our business. We have a vintage building that had a scary older elevator, only to accommodate her in 2016. I also purchased her a chair for her weight rating, a desk with more space, and have also at times been very lenient on our sick leave policy for her because I was still under the impression this was a medical issue and she'd been such a good employee for years. As a good employer, I wanted to make accommodations for what I thought was an embarrassing medical issue. She did request the elevator be updated and the chair, but I offered the desk and a few extra paid days off when she said she was feeling ill. Now is the part where it gets kind of bonkers, and a good time to mention I'm part of our local kink community. None of my employees know this, as for my reputation locally, me and my husband keep it very private. I was browsing FetLife and came across a profile and instantly recognized Sarah. Her and her husband have a profile with many pictures going back to 2016 chronicling their feeder journey. Sarah doesn't have a medical condition, so now I'm furious. I've spent about $9,200 in accommodations, elevator update, chair, desk, and another $300 in paid time off for this woman thinking she was ill, and she had done this on purpose and lied to me. What can I do? Can I fire Sarah? I don't even want to look at her right now. If I fire her, can she file a disability complaint? Can I report this as fraud? Do I sue her? We do have a company lawyer, however he is on vacation for the next 2 weeks. His partner said he may be able to look at this for me, however he is swamped and said he might not be able to get to it before our usual lawyer would be back. This is why I'm coming here. At this point, I'm considering even putting her on a paid leave if I have to, so I don't have to pretend like nothing is wrong for 2 weeks. I can definitely understand OP being upset or angry at Sarah. OP was told by Sarah that she had a disability. OP was lied to, but then OP went out of her way to try to accommodate this disability, when it was actually something that was self-inflicted. Regardless of whether it's a kink or not, that doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, Sarah lied and took advantage of OP. Simple. Now, usually at this point, we would move on to the community comments, but since OP has given us 4 updates, we're gonna skip them and go straight to the story. Hey everyone, I really didn't expect to have an update so soon, but my husband found something new last night and I just spent 2.5 hours on a Skype call with my lawyer while he's on vacation, bless his heart. So here we are. I'd also like to thank everyone who left comments in my last thread and helped me come around to waiting for my lawyer, even if it didn't go that way in the end. The majority of you were really kind and informative. So, on to this weekend's events. Lots of people were saying my best bet at this point would be gathering together the evidence of sick days lining up with photo shoots. So I brought all my work files home and started to go at it. Eventually, I got too emotionally tired and started crying, and so my husband took over to do some of the matchup work for me. He was already aware of what was going on, as he was present when I found Sarah and her husband's pictures online. While I had taken a bunch of screenshots, I really had avoided looking at the actual pictures out of a mix of awkwardness and anger, and fixated on the dates listed more. However, at one point, my husband called me over and asked me to look at a particular set. Because of our field, my office has a large storeroom where we keep items used for setup. One of her picture sets had been taken in this storeroom over the weekend and had a title somewhere along the lines of "Naughty Work," but not that. To give a bit of an idea of how this was even possible, my building doesn't have key locks, we have a code pad system. My employees all have the codes, and it's not uncommon for any of my employees to visit the office on a weekend to do extra work or even just grab something they forgot to take home. All of that data is saved, however. So then I pulled the keypad records from our server, and sure enough, her code was used the day before the album was posted. At this point, I'm ashamed to say I lost it pretty hard and started screaming at the screen. It took a few hours for me to calm down, and then I called my lawyer on his personal cell phone, which he said is allowable in an emergency. He picked up, I gave him a short rundown, and he told me to give him a half hour to finish lunch and then he'd call me right away. I laid everything out for him. He tactfully avoided asking me how I found this profile aside from, did someone send this to you? Did you have a reason to look for it? Or did you find it accidentally? Which was nice of him, and then asked him what we could do. My lawyer has said we have absolute cause to fire her, without worrying about a rebuttal of this being because of her condition or her weight gain. And that the best thing will be to have security at the door Monday waiting for her with everything at her desk boxed up and a formal letter of her termination. He then suggested something I hadn't even thought about, which was needing that storeroom professionally cleaned. They used a plastic sheet, but still. And how to recover the cost of that from Sarah, as well as sending off a takedown request for the album, as my company logo is visible in at least 2 portions of it. He did tell me any of the accommodations I gave her without asking for a letter of disability were on me and not pursuable. At this point, I'll probably just get the cost of cleaning that storeroom professionally and getting rid of Sarah, which is fine with me. My lawyer said he will be reaching out to a friend or two for help, as he's never faced anything quite like this. I told him that I could believe that and that I was sorry to have to bring this to him. He joked that it was going to be one hell of a case study someday, and that if I need him for anything else related to this before he's back, to give him a call. As for me, I'm going to take 3 days off work after letting Sarah go to process my hurt feelings like some of you suggested. Then I'm going to have to install a full camera system in my office space, start building a new set of HR policies, and look for someone to fill Sarah's position. Again, thank you all for the advice you gave me, even though I didn't end up needing it. Okay, so Sarah didn't just lie regarding her medical condition, but she also took advantage of OP's trust in another way. She used her office to record one of her sessions, giving OP all the calls that she needed. Now let's continue with update number 2. A lot of people asked to know how it went on Monday, and I'm both glad and sad to say Sarah has been let go without much ado. I went into work early Monday morning and carefully packed and wrapped all of Sarah's stuff. She had a lot of knickknacks. Deactivated her door access codes and her employee email login. Took her name off of our official stuff as an employee and then was waiting with security when Sarah showed up for work. I handed her the letter, checked and cleared by my lawyer late Sunday night, and then the security guard handed her the box of her stuff. She opened the letter and quickly read through it, and I watched all the color drain from her face when she saw the date I'd listed for the misuse of company property. I don't want to quote the letter too heavily for privacy, but it also said that she would receive her final paycheck via mail with the $200 removed for the professional floor cleaning, and that all material produced and resulting from the misuse of company property needed to be removed from any online or physical media within 3 days, or I would have to pursue legal action. At this point, Sarah started to cry and it absolutely broke my heart. But she didn't make any argument. She didn't even say anything at all, but just handed over her employee badge and then she went back to her car sobbing without an incident. I went back inside and broke the news to everyone else that Sarah had been caught in the misuse of company property and I had to let her go, and that a camera system would be installed this coming Friday. Everyone was pretty shocked, but I asked them to please refrain from discussing the incident as it was a confidential employment matter and they all agreed. Most of them just wanted to make sure I was okay, as apparently I looked a mess. I'm taking my 3 days off work now, at home with my husband and our dog. I checked her MetLife account late Monday night, and the photo set taken in the office has been wiped. Someone suggested I take my account offline for a bit, so I did, since I don't use it much anyways. I have cried a lot the past couple of days now that the anger has pretty much gone out. Overall, I still feel terrible about everything, but I suspect that will die out over time. Again, thanks for all the sound advice and surprisingly deep support I received here. I know most of you are in it for the craziness of the journey, but everything you did is still appreciated. Okay, well, Sarah has been let go and OP can put all of this behind her. Or at least that's what we would like to think, because we still have 2 more updates and now it really gets crazy. So, for those of you saying this wasn't over, I'm really unhappy to say you were right. At this point, I really just wish this was over. I'm so overwhelmed and drained. Writing it all out has really helped me out, and I know you guys like knowing the ending to stories, so I hope no one minds another update. Again, thanks for all your support during this. Now on to the update. Saturday, Sarah's husband showed up at our building after dark, broke into the entranceway and was in the process of trying to break into our offices when the police showed up and arrested him. Thankfully, the cleaner was in the upstairs hallway and heard him smash the lock on the door in order to get into the initial entranceway, then hid and called the cops. According to the police, he had a gasoline canister with him and they believed his intention was arson as retaliation for us firing Sarah. They wouldn't say much besides the base facts. However, from what I gather, and also what the cleaner told me afterwards, he apparently flipped out when the cops showed up and was yelling incoherently. The police called me and had me come into the station and relay my full story. It was awful and honestly really embarrassing. At this point, they said there'll need to be an arraignment, which I won't be involved in, and then most likely a trial, which I may be required to be a part of before we know what happens to him, but that they would update me as the case moves along when they can, like if he gets out on bail, etc. The police are charging Sarah's husband with a handful of things: breaking and entering, attempted arson, apparently assaulting an officer, and a few others. However, my husband said we could probably recover the damages of the busted door as well. I also got together an emergency meeting for all of the building business owners and informed them of what had gone on. Just the basics of Sarah's firing, not the details. And our business offered to hire a nighttime security guard for the next little while, which they agreed would be prudent. I feel really terrible about this now affecting them. All of them could have lost their livelihoods. They were really nice about everything, but I can't help feeling like crap. I sent all of this information off to our lawyer, but haven't heard back from him as he's still on vacation. We've still not heard anything from Sarah either, though all of her social media is gone. Not blocked. We checked through an account she would have no reason to block, as well as her account on the website with the fetish photos. I honestly have no idea if she had anything to do with this or not. So that's it. I'll see if I can update when everything is wrapped up. Though some of you mentioned my lawyer may have me take these posts down. But if I'm able to, it probably won't be for a while the police and courts do their thing. So Sarah's husband went nuts, did something stupid and crazy, and now faces charges. So how about we now move on to the final update to close up this story. Went to court over the husband's attempted arson. Apparently, he went off and was crazy while in lockup with the police as well. We learned that apparently, when questioned by the police, Sarah had no idea he was going to do this. He just said he was going to get takeout and left. He's going away for a while, and I'm not too worried there. Not everything had to come out in court according to my lawyer, and knowing Sarah had no idea this was going to happen, I chose not to talk about everything that happened beforehand when I gave my testimony. It was basically kept to, I terminated his wife for being in the office after hours for personal use unauthorized. I just didn't have it in me to ruin someone's life like that by putting what happened on court record. The husband also didn't say anything about it and was very quiet and meek in court, so I think his lawyer got to him. Security has been updated at my building. All of the owners were very nice and pitched in. We, being me and another female owner who was grateful our business didn't burn down, took a Redditor's advice and hired the cleaner for an afternoon, but instead took her to lunch, then to the spa, and then handed her pay for the hours worked. She is a very sweet woman. Someone, we don't know who as it wasn't us, called Sarah's family in all of this. She had been estranged from them for a while. I've heard secondhand that 2 to 3 days after the incident with her husband, Sarah's father and mother showed up. They lived like 12 hours away. They stayed long enough to get permission from the police for her to leave the province, packed up her things and left with her. I have no idea where she is now or what she's up to. I upped my therapy, had a lot of anxiety over court, but I'm doing alright now. My husband has been a superstar in all of this. This didn't blow up in the media or anything like some Redditors suggested, which terrified me, so I'm extremely grateful. My other employees seem to have pieced together something of what happened, but no one said a peep to me. So that's it. Ended with not much of a bang, and I am thankful for that. My business is alright, and I'm alright, and that's really good. Thanks again for all the support. And that's it. That's the end of this crazy series of events. It all started with OP being lied to regarding a potential disability that wasn't so, and it ended up with an arson case against an ex-employee's husband. And that was somewhat of a roller coaster. But the good thing is that OP is doing well, she can put all of this behind her and just move forward. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing, and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.